welcome to the video. Here's what I need you to do. Smash the like button, subscribe to the page, and check out the podcast below in the description.
This video is sponsored by Indeed.com/ham, where right now you can get a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/ham. For me, I think the under-discussed part of Antonio is that he's their second best receiver right now on a team that feels like heading into the playoffs, the Bucs, they're leaking oil a little bit. Chris Godwin is done. Antonio behind Mike Evans is their number two targeted receiver behind Mike Evans. He's number 2 on the team, number 1 behind Mike Evans now. The week before the Jets game, now I know they played Carolina, but his first game back, you know what he did? 10 for 101. Before he was out and missed November, his previous 3 games in October were 9 catches for 93 yards, 7 for 124, and 7 for 63. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but guess what didn't happen Tuesday? For the second day in a row since Bruce said he's off the team, Antonio did not hit the waiver wire.
Do you believe it's truly that they're working with the league to get a resolution on what they can do, or they're just like, hey, let's just take some deep breaths, let's just get some updates on hamstrings and ACLs, and let's just Leonard Fournette's still alive, like let's still kind of just, because you're right, Godwin,
and I would add to this, and they don't want him on another team.
You think anyone will take him after that?
I don't think so, but
I don't know. At this point in time in the season, I think you'd be hard. That'd be pretty nuts.
Jerry just lost a receiver.
Yeah, but they had number 1, Wilson was pretty good. The only team to me that was fucking with this guy was them, and it was because Tom was pounding the table. Like, was any other team taking him? But I am with you. Godwin was on a pace to... What was Chris Godwin going to make this offseason fully healthy with like 120 catches and 7 touchdowns? You know? Was someone going to pay him $20 million a year? Probably. Mike is awesome. He has 12 touchdowns. He's always injured. He's like the 3 years ago Julio. Will you watch him? They'll like catch a touchdown, and then like by the third quarter, it's like he's like, I got to come out, and he'll come out, and it's hard for him to stay healthy. Gronkowski is having a pretty good season. Rob's had a pretty good little swan song here in Tampa those couple years. But you're right, like Antonio was good last. Remember, he caught a touchdown in the Super Bowl. That's a big loss. Now, I hadn't thought about it like, are they waiting? But you never know. I would never, ever discount, like, emotions are high. It basically was confirmed, right? Bruce Arians told him to go in the locker room. He said, leave. Maybe he didn't mean like leave, but maybe Antonio took it like that. Maybe it was just a miscommunication because he kept telling him
I would
to go
love
into
for him
the
to
game.
be back, and Bruce says this was all a miscommunication.
He hasn't left New York yet. He was at the Nets game last night.
Oh, okay.
What percent chance do you think we see him? He doesn't get cut. Like, you put it like 50-50 or we like?
No, I think he's got. I mean, I'd say it's. I think the chances are pretty good that he gets cut, but he hasn't been cut yet.
What do you think about people like, well, this changes the narrative? Was a coach trying to make him go in healthy? And then you see him doing jumping jacks like, Bruce Arians like, you're fine. What are you doing? He's like sprinting off the field. He's fine.
Could not care less about all those other discussions. Couldn't care less. He is not. Don't make Antonio Brown your poster child for whatever your cause is. That's my recommendation to anybody with a cause. Whether your cause is mental health, whether your cause is coaches force players to play hurt, whatever your cause is, I would caution you, making Antonio Brown the poster boy for it is not going to work out and will backfire on you. Period. That's just that would be my, if you're going to ride any of those horses, by all means, do not make him exhibit A. It'd be a mistake.
I was thinking about this. Listen, if you're the 49ers, you play Tom Brady, it's going to be hard. But their team is off right now.
Yes. They are less good without Antonio Brown. Just period.
They do get it would be in home. Bruce and Todd Bolt, like their staff is elite. They still have some like culture stuff there that even with or without them, they're pretty good, right? Just the way their expectation is going to be win the Super Bowl. Right? That's what they're thinking. We're going to win the Super Bowl. Like if we walked in that building tomorrow, Wednesday, first day back for this week, do you think there's anyone in there like, yeah, it's going to be hard to win the Super Bowl? Or like, we're winning the Super Bowl. Like that's how they're talking. We're going to win the Super Bowl.
Well, I mean, Tom's won Super Bowls with less, right? I mean, you look back at the Super Bowl they beat the Rams. His leading receiver on that team was James White, who is not a receiver. Then it was Edelman. 74 catches for Edelman. James White had 87. Then it was Gronk. Josh Gordon was the second leading receiver on that team. Chris Hogan, Philip Dorsett, sneaky Cordero Patterson. Okay. Those were the so Tom doesn't need a bunch of Pro Bowl receivers to win a championship. And I think, as cliche as it is, everybody says it is right. Like, look, don't write Tom Brady off based on the way he's playing at the end of a regular season. But to your point, like, if from the Niners perspective, let's say if you're playing them in the first round, I'm not going to say they're easy to defend, but Antonio Brown didn't just become difficult on Sunday. Like, there's a reason he was on the team, because he was worth the trouble to them.
You know, one issue for them is one reason they were an unstoppable force last year is that front seven, the defense was awesome. Their whole defense. I mean, their secondary is playing well. Bunting was good. Winfield, the dude they drafted. Remember, you were the guy that kept talking about Jason Light's drafting. Like, he couldn't miss.
Yeah.
Well, I think they've just had so many injuries. The Jets just ran for 150 yards, 26 carries, 150 yards. Zach Wilson threw for 230 on him. I mean, 230. Like, so you're having almost 400 yards of offense from the Jets on the Bucs. Now, is it as simple as you're playing a really bad team late in the year? I think we're going to find out this week. Like, is their defense just a major question mark going in, or was that just kind of a one-off, right, end of the year, taking a team a little lightly, and then all of a sudden they play it like their Super Bowl. You find yourself down, but you end up figuring it out. Like, I don't know. If Carolina is tight, because they just played them a couple weeks ago and they killed them, destroyed them. I mean, they basically made all those stories come out about Matt Rule. It happened 2 weeks. They beat them 32-6, and then all the stories came out about Matt Rule. Like, is this 10-10 at half, or is this 17-0 at half? We're kicking the shit out of you.
Yeah, I mean, I have a hard time bad team games, right? The Jets and the Panthers, putting too much stock in it. I think it might be that those types of games could be a little misleading.
Part of it is they're struggling to score because they're out firepower.
It's a real thing. It's like,
was that his most talented team last year he's ever had?
I mean, the Randy Patriots undefeated.
But they didn't. But I'm saying that won a Super Bowl.
Oh,
he had Godwin, Evans, Antonio Brown was three wide receivers. He had Rob Gronkowski. Leonard Fournette, just let's face it, like, should he have been the fourth pick in the draft or whatever? No, but Leonard Fournette's a legitimate starting running back.
And Ronald Jones.
And Ronald Jones. His offensive line was solid. Their defense was unreal. He had Arians, Todd Bowles. Like, that was a pretty locked and loaded group, of just.
And who knows how we'll look back if Byron Leftwich is going to turn out to be a great NFL coach, right? We might look back and say Tom launched his, he had a very good OC as well.
And Bowles is going to be a head coach again, right? So he's going to be on a team with several head coaches. Ton of they had Ndamukong Suh, Devin White, Vita Vea, JPP. They were pretty stacked, man. I think defensive rookie of the year and the safety from Minnesota, Winfield. Those guys just been banged up. But if you're not healthy, like, it's one big point of difference they had last year is they went in pretty healthy. And I've heard Bruce talk about it. He's like, we were healthy last year. What if the Niners were to lose and the Saints get in? Do you think the Bucs want to play the Saints in the first round?
No, their defense is fantastic right now.
And don't you feel like the Saints would just view that like, we're beating them?
How could you beat them with Taysom Hill?
It'd be incredible.
I know. Somebody in the Patrick says 2003 maybe. I think the Patriots defense in 2003, I don't think their offense. I mean, Deion Branch was obviously a really good player. Kevin Falk, Troy Brown. In terms of running backs, that team was Antoine Smith. Now their defense, though, Rodney Harrison, Teddy Bruschi, Ty Law, Willie McGinnis, Tyrone Poole, Mike Vrabel, Richard Seymour, Ted Washington, Asante Samuel. I mean, that defense was pretty stacked.
Yeah, pretty good.
But not the offense. I don't think was intelligent.
Do you remember they had a stretch from 2003 to 2004 when they won the back-to-back?
Plus Brian Dable, Rob Ryan, Josh McDaniels, Charlie Weiss, Romeo Cornell. Sorry,
I love that Bill loved Rob. Like, Rob was on his staff. They had a stretch, if I remember correctly, that when they won back-to-back, Like
Yeah.
the second half of the first championship to the first half of the final. I think, remember they had won like 19 or 22 or something straight games, and the Steelers, I think, beat them on like Sunday Night Football or something.
So they won. They started the first of those back-to-back Super Bowls 2-2, and then so what does that mean? They won 12 straight to finish the year. Then they won
The Super Bowl.
3 games, so that's 15.
Yeah.
15 in a row, and then to start 04, they won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So 21 straight.
Oh, 15 plus 6, 20. Who beat them?
Pittsburgh. They were lost at Pittsburgh. Yeah. And then they won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more in a row.
They won a lot. I think if
They were
been around
they were
the Patriots,
17-2 back-to-back years. So
can you imagine some of the eyes and just feelings the 7-9 season? Like, what the fuck? Is this how people live in the NFL?